see that every day.
No.
Today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be following my friend who's a fitness photographer based in Los Angeles on one of his client jobs, and we're going to see how he works and get a little bit behind the scenes on what it's like being a full-time creative.
Yo, what's up?
What's up?
We doing this?
Welcome to the Scout.
This is Jesse DeYoung. He's a good friend of mine, fitness photographer in Los Angeles, and also you've probably seen him on my channel in the past. He's helped me shoot some of my videos, and he's been along for the ride on some of my adventures. So we're meeting up one day before the actual shoot begins because he's trying to find 3 different locations to be able to photograph in this one spot. Now, one side note, I'm filming this entire video using the Sony FX3. I wanted to test it in a documentary run and gun style shoot. And at the end of this video, I'm going to include a short review and my thoughts about working with it in this kind of setting. Also, this is the first video in a series that I'm doing where I follow behind the scenes with other creators. All right, so let's get into it.
I was hired to shoot for a company called Melon, and Melon is a athletic hat company. Oh yeah,
This hat company?
we happen to be wearing Melon hats today. Melon makes hats for working out. They're waterproof, they're athletic, their tagline is made to move. So I thought, what a better place than a hike or some sort of like physical activity place.
So you're thinking these stairs down here?
I could get some cool angles of just those stairs and isolate my subject within the cement if I wanted to, or if I shoot low, I could probably get some cool depth shots using this location.
So when you're doing a scout like this, what are you looking for?
Usually it has something to do with telling us some sort of story to kind of engage the people that are going to be looking at the photos that I make.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Laura. Awesome.
This is
Yeah.
Jeven.
So before the camera comes out and he starts taking photos, he has a little conversation with the models and he just makes sure that everyone's on the same page. It's a moment to break the ice and get to know each other. This is where he dove into what the company is all about and the mission behind this specific photo shoot and the story that he's trying to tell.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa, we got a balloon. Where is this balloon coming from?
When you shoot people in hard light, you just have to be careful, especially at the end of the day, that you don't have your shadow on him.
Let me get out of this.
One thing I really like about Jesse's photography is he really likes to use lighting and angles and is able to really create these dramatic looks where he'll let things fall to complete black and have those hard shadows and have that deep contrast. And I think it just has such a striking look. This is such a cool location, like walking around here. We actually discovered this because we were working on a shoot together down in Glendale, which is like 10 minutes away. And every time we were out here, we were like, man, it'd be really cool to do a shoot.
This location is questionable. I know right now I see some things that I like that I would love to use, but I know at the time of the shoot the light will be different, so it might not work. But there's a cool shadow here, like a highlight. It would be great to isolate the subject. And then using these archways could be cool. It might not be the right vibe for the shoot, but sometimes you try stuff and see if it will work.
This is really cool.
So you could literally tag like Morocco, like you shot this in Morocco.
Oh, I know.
the architecture, you're like, yeah, we went to Morocco.
We just got,
Yeah.
little stipends.
NBD, no big deal.
So what do you think with the lighting now?
I'm gonna try to make it work. It's a little different than it was earlier, but there's still lots to work with. Now I just have to find the right angle.
I like the layers.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about this.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got like lots of depth and lots of texture with the archways.
Yeah, so this will be your lighting right here. This will be your bounce, and you're just gonna be standing here.
So this location didn't work out as planned, but Jesse was able to pull off a few photos that looked really good. As a creative, you just need to know that sometimes not everything's gonna work out, and you just need to know when to call it and move on. You lose the key?
Nope.
It's a bad day for someone.
It's gonna be an issue.
So we're gonna go up now?
Yep, we're going up.
So this hike, this isn't an easy hike. The reason we always would come up here and hike after a shoot is that it's a straight up mountain. And you know, after a long day of shooting, we wanted to get like a workout in. Doing it for a photo shoot and coming up here later with a model, it's gonna be a little bit more of a challenge.
So all I'm looking for is a couple different levels. One where I am, and then I'll have my subject or my model be down on a lower level. But the third thing that I need is a depth of background. So looking at this, I'm like, oh, that would be perfect. But you're looking down at the parking lot, and that isn't the story that I'm trying to tell.
Every time we've come up here and we've climbed up, it's usually been right at sunset where we see the city lights in the distance. It's like super inspiring. Like it just feels like you're up above this massive city, which I mean, we are. You can see downtown in the distance, downtown LA, and then you can see all the way up the valley, and the sun sets out there over another mountain range. You get high enough up here and you can see like layers upon layers of mountains, and it's insane. It's such a cool spot. And I lived here for 14 years before I moved. I never explored this area until like last month.
How about you? No, that's same. I kind of had it at the same time as you.
Yeah. The worst part about getting these hiking shots is you have to leave the camera, which means you have to come back and get it.
It's a great view already, and we're only like 15 minutes up. This is it. This is the spot. Great shot.
Look at that shot.
Dude, the sticks. I'll let you take a couple steps back, but keep that spacing. This is a shot that we planned yesterday. It is using the leading line, the curve in the trail, and what I'm using is a 70 to 200 focal length, and probably shooting at 200, but I'm going up on the hill so I can get that depth of the city. That's perfect. And then
There's a puppy.
but you can probably eat it.
Oh my god, what's your name?
Oh yeah, we're selling hats for sure.
Oh, you got the guy in the inside. Oh yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
That's a wrap. We got 3 different locations, and I think we exceeded our expectations.
Can we get like everyone like high-fiving up?
You want?
I could have done like a...
Yeah, a team break.
And... So a couple big takeaways from hanging out with Jesse and going behind the scenes with him is, one is that you really need to have a focus and a niche for anything that you're doing. Whether you're a photographer or a filmmaker or pretty much anything else, if you can really focus in on one thing, rather than trying to be the jack of all trades, you'll find success. Jesse has become known as a fitness photographer, and brands seek him out because the photos that he's able to capture will help tell their story and help their brand. Another big takeaway from this whole experience is just planning everything out. He could have showed up the day of the shoot and just found some good spots and shot some photos, but having that pre-planning day, having that scout day, gave him the ability to really think through his story, and he was able to find some cool and unique locations and really be able to think through lighting and everything else that goes into the photos, but also knowing what's going on around the photos. Thinking through all of these elements is super important, and basically with anything that you do, the more that you can plan it out, the more that you can alleviate a lot of the issues. And it also just gave him a lot of flexibility when it came to the shoot, because he had his plan, but if anything came up, he was able to just jump off script and be able to do some different creative things that ended up turning out really cool in the photos. So I just want to do a quick review of the Sony FX3. I'll include another video at the end of this that goes through the 10 reasons why I decided to not keep this camera, and I decided to just stay with my A7S Mark III. So when I was shooting this little mini documentary, the hardest thing has been seeing the screen in bright daylight. I was out shooting in the middle of the day, I was shooting towards sunset, and a lot of times it was hard to see what was going on the screen, and I just kind of had to make judgment calls. And you'll see a lot of the footage ended up being pretty overexposed in different situations. In a run and gun setting, it was hard to use. Now, the beauty of this camera is that there is a lot of latitude where you can pull back some of those highlights and you can actually recover a lot of the image. So the sensor is amazing, the camera is great, but I actually prefer having that EVF, and also in a run and gun setting, I like putting the EVF up to my eye, and it helps stabilize the camera a little bit more. But for me, in this kind of scenario, I definitely think the A7S Mark III works much better than the FX3. Now, my setup was the FX3, the 24-105, and a shotgun mic, and that's pretty much all I used for this entire shoot. And I think it was a great run and gun setup just to have a small mirrorless body, one lens, and I don't have to worry about switching anything. And I was more focused on trying to capture what was going on and tell the story, because at the end of the day, the story is the most important, not always the visuals and everything else, because if you can tell a good story and you can capture the moment, that's what you're going to end up using in the edit. As I said earlier in this video, this is part of a series I'm doing where I go behind the scenes with other creators, and I want to hear from you. Who's a creator that you want to see behind the scenes and you want to see a little bit more about their creative process? Now, next, I highly suggest you check out this series here. It's all of my story-driven adventure style films, and below that is 10 reasons why I decided not to keep the Sony FX3. All right, I'll see you over there.